Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. I'm your instructor for this topic. In this video, you will learn about the first subtopic of emotion in the workplace. Guys, no matter how hard you might try, you can't just flip a switch when you step in the office and turn your emotion off. Should you bring your emotion to work with you, or should you leave them at home? Especially if you have rough start your day. Should you call in sick, or should you bring your emotion to work with you and work them out with the people that you share the space with at the office? Okay then, we want to start off by looking at the definition of emotion. By definition, emotion can be defined as physiological, behavioral, and psychological episode experienced toward an object, person, or event that create a state of readiness. So, emotion then is a feeling deriving from a person's circumstances, moods, or relationship with others. So, based on the definition, there are 5 components that can ease our understanding about the definition of emotion. The first component is emotion is an episode or brief event. Second component, emotion can direct towards something. The third component, emotion also is a psychological. Component number 4, emotion is physiological episode. And component number 5, emotion create a state of readiness. Generally, there are 2 features of all emotion. First, all emotion has some degree of activation. Second, all emotion have core effect. Evaluate that something is good or bad. Next, as you can see from the figure shows the circumflex of emotion model. Based on the model, there are 2 dimensions of emotion. Firstly is activation and secondly is evaluation. So these are the features of emotion. The foundation of the circumflex of emotion model is, for example, fearful. Based on the model, fearful is a negative emotion that generates a high level of activation. Another example is relax. Based on the model, relax is a pleasant emotion that has apparently low activation. Now that you have learned and get some idea about emotion, so let's talk about the linkage between emotion, attitude, and behavior. So guys, what is the connection between emotion, attitude, and behavior? Before we link all the 3 elements, so let's first identify the definition of the terms. Emotion, as mentioned earlier, refers to psychological, behavioral, and physiological episodes experienced toward an object, person, or event that create a state of readiness. Attitude is referred to the cluster of belief, access feeling, and behavioral intention toward a person, object, or event, which is called as an attitude object. Basically, there are 3 clusters of attitude. The first cluster is known as belief, which refer to established perception about the attitude or what you believe to be true. Second cluster is known as feeling, which represent your conscious, positive or negative evaluation of the attitude object. The third cluster is known as behavioral intention, which represent your motivation to engage in particular behavior regarding the attitude object. And the last term to be connect is behavior. Behavior is referred to a response of an individual or group to an action, person, environment, and stimulus. So, these are the cluster of attitude that I have mentioned earlier: belief, feelings, and behavioral intention. Then, how they are related? Based on the figure, the creation of belief, feelings, and behavioral intention is known as cognitive process, while the creation of emotional episode is known as emotional process. Belief influence feelings when belief perceive facts required from the experience or another form of learning. Then, feeling influence behavioral intention. Feelings are calculated from your belief. For example, like smoking. People with the same feeling can form different behavioral intention due to the different perception about the consequences behavioral intention to behavior. Whether your intention turn to behavior or not will depend on the situation. So, how emotion influence attitude? Feeling and belief are influenced by cumulative emotional episodes in which we listen in on our emotion before affecting the behavioral intention and behavior. Next, let's distinguish attitude and emotion. Attitude are basically judgment about an attitude object that involve conscious logical reasoning. Attitude are also based on mainly rational logic, usually without our awareness. Attitude are usually stable for days or longer and over time, while emotion are basically experience related to an attitude object. It is based on awareness of our senses. Emotion occur briefly and last minutes than attitude. However, when we perceive something that is inconsistent with our belief, feeling, and behavior, most probably we will likely to experience cognitive dissonance. By definition, cognitive dissonance is an emotional experience caused by a perception that our belief, feeling, and behavior are incongruent with one another. This inconsistency generates emotion. For example, hypocritical that motivate us to increase consistency. It is easier to increase consistency by changing feeling and belief rather than change behavior. So let's take a look at the example given. Fiona is a teacher who opened a tuition center. Fiona's attitude conveys that the tuition fee currently are too high. However, at the same time, Fiona's behavior conveys that the tuition center needs money to improve the facility. Here, the cognitive dissonance occurs when there is inconsistency between Fiona's attitude and behavior. As a result, Fiona tried to resolve the cognitive dissonance by give reasoning to the behavior. So here we go. Thank you for working hard in understanding our lesson today. I love having you to hear the lesson and I would love to see you again. So good job everyone. See you next time.